Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Power Rankings. I'm your Commissioner Nick, and it is week 10 on the schedule. Can you believe it? The season is flying by. I don't like it. We're getting right down to the nitty gritty here. Trade deadline is coming up. That is right before week 13. So mark that down in your calendars. We got a great show coming up for you on the way. We've got two new segments, no Around the League this week, but two new segments. That's the trade-off. I hope you like them. It's the return of everyone's favorite segment. I'm not going to spoil it, but make sure you stick around for that. And without further ado, let's get into those rankings. Oh, and prayers for Josh, too. Prayers for Josh. All right, let's do it. Number 12. When legends rise, Frank's team stays in the basement another week after yet another loss. Mr. INT Aaron Rodgers threw this game away as he was intercepted 3 times. Chase Clay Poo-Poo didn't get off to a great start on the Bears as he only had 2 catches for 13 yards. Once again failed to score above the league median, Sleepy Frank is not doing too well handling his team this year. He may need someone behind him to help pull the strings. Number 11. Beans Pride Parade. Beans unfortunately lost again this week and drops another spot in the rankings. Kadarius Baloney had another bad start with his new team as he only scored 3.2 fantasy points. Beans is missing his star tight end Darren Waller as Tyler Goose Eggby failed to score 1 point in his place. ESPN still gives his team a 9% chance to make the playoffs, but this team has been done for months now. Number 10. What a waste of time and money. Brad put up the fewest points in the league this week as he fell short to the process, and you can kiss this season goodbye. Brad is done. Kyle Miss returned to his mediocre ways, scoring just 4.7 points. Darrell Henderson sucked again, scoring just 5 points. And how about Bobby Woods putting up a goose egg this week? I hope you appreciate that well thought out meme to the right there. Brad's falling out of it. Technically just a game out, but it's now or never if this team wants to make a run. Number 9. Not that team, pal. Sigh. My team lost after a disappointing performance against Hunter. Everything seemed to be going my way leading into the matchup as Hunter's guys kept dropping like flies. Just embarrassing. Aaron Brittlebones Jones and Romeo Dobbs of the Green Bay Slackers both left the game early. Meanwhile, DJ Moore dedicated his performance to Taylor Swift as he was the anti-hero for this team. Technically tied for the last playoff spot, gotta beat Brad's terrible team, and we need points to catch up in the tiebreaker. Number 8. Team Lance 2.0. Cam finally snapped the losing streak this week, defeating Frank for his first win since September. Cooper Cup of Coffee got this team energized, putting up 26 points. Meanwhile, Kyler Scurry ran for 60 yards and scored 20 points. This was a much-needed, gritty win against a team you had to beat. Still very much alive in the playoff race. Let's see if he can keep it going. Number 7. Harambe's Olave Javante Deontay. Oliver got back on track this week with a solid win over Luke. When Mahomes is buzzing, Harambe is buzzing, and Pat led the way with a 33-point performance on Sunday Night Football. Travis E.T. Wynn also had a big game as he scored 2 touchdowns and had 26.6 points. Oliver has been feeling the pressure to keep his playoff streak alive, and this win put him back in a playoff spot. For now. Number 6. Quantum Cheeseburger. Jerry's team saw his career-high winning streak come to an end as he lost to his real daddy, Brophy. He didn't stand a great chance going against Mixon, but Jerry's Dolphins kept him alive. In the end, Jerry's big trade acquisition, Tyler Conklin, only scored 1.7 points, leading to defeat. Also, DeAndre Swift's usage in Detroit has to be slightly concerning for a team trying to make their first ever playoff appearance. Something to monitor. Number 5. PAPI'S prized possession. Brophy remained undefeated lifetime against Jerry and moved up another spot in the rankings. He also put up the most points in the league this week and jumped from 11th all the way up to 5th in points per game. Joe, it's the frickin' Catalina wine mixin' went nuclear this week, scoring not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 touchdowns against the Panthers. His 55.1 point performance was one of the greatest fantasy performances of all time. Papi finally put his loudmouth son to bed. Number 4. The process. Ryan moves up a spot after snapping the losing skid and defeating Brad in convincing fashion. Trustin Jefferson did it again, scoring 25.5 points to lead the way. Nice to see Ryan have a running back score multiple touchdowns too, as Kenyon Drake put up 25 points as well. This team looks solid yet again, but if they can get Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen back to elite form, this team is going all the way. Number 3. King of the Higgins v3. Luke's team came up short against Harambe this week, and his 5-game winning streak came to an end. Devonta Smith dropped the ball in this one, only scoring 4 points, and you just can't trust him enough to start at this point. Also, Josh Allen put up a decent fantasy performance, but has looked terrible the past week or so. Despite that, we are all with Luke, praying that his arm injury is not serious and he won't miss significant time. Thoughts and prayers for Josh. Number 2. COMMISH'S daddy. Hunter's team moves up to number 2 in the rankings after defeating my team, despite not having Lamar, Andrews, and Taylor in the lineup. Hunter loves his mobile quarterbacks, but he's shifted his attention from one of the best running quarterbacks of all time to the hot newcomer, as Justin Sane Fields led the way with a 46-point performance. Fields broke the single-game rushing record for a quarterback, running for 178 yards. Wow, wow, wee, wah. Not to mention Devontae Adams also went off for 10 for 146 and 2 touchdowns. What a week for these two. And number 1, Team Never Lucky. The reigning, defending, undisputed number 1 team in bad company is Dan, as he reclaims the top spot in the rankings with another win to improve to 8-1 on the season. Kenneth Walker III led the way with a big 28-point performance. Kelsey and Hardman each had 20 points for Kansas City, and Kirk Thuggins, aka the Noon Nightmare, lit it up for 2 touchdowns. And according to ESPN, Dan is now the first team to punch his ticket to the Bad Company playoffs. Clap it up for Dan, everybody. Clap it up. There you go, Dan. Good job. And now let's move on to take a look at our playoff picture. We got a new segment here. As you can see here, Team Never Lucky is the 1 seed. Quantum Cheeseburger is the 5 seed. This would be his first playoff appearance if he can hang on. He would be matched up against King of the Higgins. Other notable matchup is COMMISH'S daddy at the bottom of the screen, taking on the 7 seed Harambe Zalave Javante Deontay, as Oliver tries to keep his playoff streak alive. And we got in the hunt Team Lance 2.0. Not that team, pal. Don't sleep on me yet. 4-5. And Brad's team is still hanging on to in the hunt despite being 3-6. And let's move on, and it's the return of everyone's favorite segment, the Tank Tracker. As you can see, Brad is a team on the fence right now at 3-6, but Frank and Beans are both 2-7. I know firsthand Frank still thinks he has a chance, and I'm sure if Beans has more access to his phone, he would have sold off long ago. So let's take a look at my commissioner picks this week. I went 3-3 last week with my picks. We've got Harambe Zalave Javante Deontay taking on Team Lance 2.0 in a big matchup for playoff implications, and I'm going to take Oliver's team. You know, he has strived under pressure like this for 8 years now. He's not going to miss the playoffs. He's going to win this matchup here. When Legends Rise taking on Quantum Cheeseburger. Jerry, I think that last week was a demoralizing loss for you. I think the Dolphins have a tough week, and Frank absolutely needs to win this game. Therefore, I'm taking One Legends Rise. Beans Pride Parade taking on PAPI'S Prize Possession. I'm taking Brophy's team to get the win here. Beans' team is just not it. It's just not it this year. Not that team, pal. Taking on What a Waste of Time and Money. And let me tell you, folks, I absolutely have to win this game. So I'm taking my squad to rise up and get the win. And in our last matchup at the bottom here, this very well could have been game of the week honors this week if it weren't for another matchup we will get to in a second. But Hunter versus Luke, the battle of the Grad brothers, 2 top teams right now in the league. Could be a future playoff matchup as well. Luke, I'm sorry, I'm going to take COMMISH'S daddy in this one. Hunter's team is looking strong yet again, and that's who I'm rolling with. And let's move on to the game of the week. For as long as these 2 storied franchises have been in the league, it's surprising they've only met once a year for the past 7 years. Ryan has owned Dan historically, going 6-1 all time, including 4 wins in a row entering this matchup. Although these 2 have never met in the playoffs, this could very well be the year these 2 teams meet in the playoffs the way they've been playing. These are 2 of the top teams record-wise. And, you know, Ryan's always had great receivers, especially Trustin Jefferson. We've all known about his running back issues. I've documented it long ago. And, you know, Dan, he's got great players all over his lineup, especially at tight end with Travis Kelce. It'll be interesting to see how Kirk Cousins does against the Bills this week. And with that being said, I'm taking Ryan because I don't think Cousins is going to have a great game. But maybe that hurts Justin Jefferson too. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. I'm rolling with Ryan. That's my final answer. Moving on. And that's all I got for you. No Around the League segment this week. We had a couple other segments mixed in, so that is fine. Thanks again, everyone. Good luck this week.